Good morning, my little pumpkin ghost. Good morning, my little blueberry bats. How are you all doing today? If this is your first time here, then hi, my name is Carrington. If you enjoy unboxings, hauls, talking about makeup, new makeup, old makeup, empties, shop my stashes, full faces of nothing new, as well as we sprinkle in some true crime. If all that sounds exciting to you, then definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click the little bell so you're notified of all my future uploads. As well, if this has been your 10th time, 100th time, this is your 50th time here, even your second time here, you have not yet hit that subscribe button, go ahead. I invite you to do so. Obviously, you're liking the content, you're coming back. And let's go ahead and let's get into today's video. So it is almost Christmas time. I know, wild, right? It is almost Christmas time. I can't believe this. So I wanted to sit down and I wanted to talk about palettes that I think would be a good gift for those in your life who may love makeup. So I have 4 sections, 4 price ranges. We're going to get into going through each of the price ranges, why I think this would be a good gift, as well as I will post the prices somewhere on the screen so that we know how much each of them are. But first of all, let's go ahead and let's start off with our first category, which is from $0 to $25. So let's just go ahead and let's start off with the Wet n Wild. These you can easily find at the drugstore. If you're one where you're nervous that you're not going to be able to have enough time to get in the products before Christmas, or you're not really for sure how to do a lot of online shopping, or you're just nervous about online shopping and you would prefer to be able to go and pick something up physically, these little Wet n Wild palettes are a great option. They have these at Walmart, they have these at Target, CVS, Walgreens. I have seen these all over the place. So you have ones that are about 5 pans. And you can, there's a wide variety of different colors, different shades. So you can find something for everybody in your life, depending on what kind of color story and preference they're into. They also have this 10 pan ones. These are generally about $3 to $5, depending on which ones you get. But I feel like that is super cheap, super affordable. If it's somebody that's just beginning in makeup in your life, if it's a little girl, because I do not trust Claire's makeup or Play makeup. It is not regulated by the FDA as like actual cosmetics brands are. So if you have like a little girl that's really into makeup, you have somebody maybe like a teen just starting out with makeup, you yourself are just starting out with makeup, because sometimes it's nice to buy yourself some gifts around Christmas. I know I do. And so or you are on a budget. Let's say you really do like good quality makeup, but pandemic is happening, jobs are happening, and you're just not really able to spend the amount of money as some of these other palettes and these other categories. These are really great options. They're really nice. They're really pigmented. They're buttery, creamy, and like super soft. I think that's one thing that I really like about them. I mean, just look how creamy and pigmented those are, especially for this being like $3. Like, that's pretty incredible for them being $3. Sometimes when I go into my Walmart, I will see these palettes on sale. So, you can usually get a pretty good deal with them. So I think that's a really good place to start. Let's just say that maybe a Walmart or CVS or Walgreens are a couple towns over. Maybe you're like me where you live in a small town and the only thing that is in that small town is Dollar General. So now you're panicking because you have somebody that loves makeup and you would like to go and pick things up, not have to go order and not have to go tons of towns over. You can go to your Dollar General and you can find some good palettes. So I have these Blvd palettes. So I do have one that's a little bit more neutral, and I do have one that's a little bit more pinky. These retail for about $5 each. Of course, they have tons more options. These are just ones I have, but I feel like they have really, really good quality. Like, look at that. For $5, that's so good. Like, that's like just like 2 of the shimmers right there. Super beautiful. The mattes, again, super creamy, super pigmented, super buttery. I mean, these are really good palettes, and they're $5. You get 6 shades for $5. I feel like that is super fair, especially for the quality that you're getting. You know, even if you are just like, maybe you want to kind of combine. So I feel like these two would be a good option to go together. These two could be a good option to go together. You want to, maybe you have like a Walmart and a Dollar General and all that in the same town. You can give them a little bit more of a variety. I think that that's a really nice aspect. I think these are really good quality, especially if you're somebody like me, where maybe you're just not, you don't have the time to go to other towns, and really Dollar General is all you have. These are really good palettes that I feel like are really gift worthy, especially for that makeup lover in your life. Another drugstore option that you can find at Walmart, they're not at all Walmarts, so you may have to order them, but usually you can order and do like it'll come in and you go and pick up from like your local Walmart. That's what they can ship it to your house. But that is the Profusion Cosmetics palettes. These are really, really good. They're like $10 or $12 and you get 35 shades. So $10 or $12 for 35 shades is a good deal. So you might be thinking like, oh no, this looks kind of like cheap quality packaging. I will agree. The packaging is a little bit cheap. So you might be thinking like, all right, so some cheap quality packaging, but let's like talk about like, are these shades inside any good? Like, are these decent? Like, that just seems kind of like those little, you know, like in Walmart where they like put out like, here's all these eyeshadows you can get, and it's like terrible quality or whatever. You might be thinking that. I know I did when I first heard about like the Profusion, but I have actually used these palettes and they are really good. You know, they're not like the best quality in terms of like some of the other palettes I'm going to talk about, but if you have somebody that you want to gift a good palette to, that has a lot of options for a good bang for your buck, I think Profusion is a great option. I think Profusion is a fantastic option. You know, you would have to purchase, you know, you would spend more money purchasing separate ones of these than you would just buying one of the Profusion palettes. Because again, it's like $10 or $12. It depends on your Walmart or if you're doing it like offline, things like that. So just something to be mindful of, just things to go and look at. It kind of is going to be more down to a preference of what your person may have makeup wise, their artistic ability, what kind of colors they like, things like that. But I think all three of these are really good drugstore options that are super affordable but also super good quality. So the next ones I'm going to talk about are things that are affordable that you can either order offline or you can go to your local Ulta and get. So I do have a couple of things from Juvia's Place. So let's talk about the first one. So the first one right here is this Rebel Mints palette. Now, is this like my most favorite palette ever? Is this even my most favorite palette from Juvia's Place? No. But I think if you have somebody that really likes colorful makeup, first of all, like colorful makeup, and especially likes greens, this is going to be a great palette to get them. This is definitely like a pastel green. And I was able to create this look. I will leave a picture of it. I was able to create this look with this quad, and with them being pastels, sometimes pastels are just so hard to formulate. Pastel greens are so hard to formulate. Greens themselves are hard to formulate, but the pigmentation is there. Now you do have to sometimes like stamp it on and then go in and blend it out, but it goes on. It's so beautiful. This is such a good pastel mint green, kind of a quad. So if you have somebody that really does like to play with some color, really like pastels, I think they would love this palette because it does give you that pigmentation. There's that, you know, it's a really nice quad that you could easily travel with if you're going somewhere, have a green outfit you would like to try, you know, whatever. This is so good. I think this would be a great option for that pastel green lover in your life. The next one from Juvia's Place is my all-time favorite. I don't know what it is about this palette, but it's the Nomad palette. This is so beautiful. So really, you basically have mostly a bunch of mattes. You have two shimmers. So you kind of have like a darker shimmer and then this lighter. You have so many different options. You've got like some of these like grunge greens. You've got like these orange and yellows. You have a nice brown, a nice lid setting shade. Again, you just have so many options within this palette, but the quality is so good. And that center shimmer, there's no names on here, I don't think. Yeah, they don't ever name their shades, but like, look how beautiful that is. That is so beautiful, so blinding. I mean, look at that. It's so good. So I really feel like if you have somebody that's really into like the more grunge kind of tones, like I am, because I'm 100% into the grunge tones, okay? If you have somebody that is definitely like into the grunge tones, and you have somebody that would really love this, and you are on a budget, great palette. This is a phenomenal palette. Those will definitely last you a while. The pan sizes are huge. Like here it is in comparison to like my finger. Definitely going to be like huge, and you can get some really, really beautiful fun looks. All right, so the next two are going to be from ColourPop, and again, you can easily pick these up at either your Ulta or you can order them off ColourPop's website. So the first is going to be the That's Taupe palette. I love this palette. This is definitely a very neutral, everyday, cool tone palette. So this is something that I really love, and like you have these really, really light shades here that you can easily apply all over your lid with some beautiful shades. You have like this like Super Shock, it's called Slated. And you have this where you could kind of use any of these, especially like these three in that Super Shock, to create like a very easy, soft, everyday look. Like if you're going to the office and you're not allowed to wear like really big, huge, bold eye makeup like I am. But you also have like these down here, and you have like some deeper, like you have like this deeper shade right here that you can go in and kind of amp it up for like a more like evening or special occasion kind of a look, especially if you are a cool toned person. I'm cool toned. I love cool tone palettes. So this is definitely something that I think would have to be my collection. If you have somebody else that is cool toned, you're on a budget and you want something where you can, you know, maybe they would like something where they can make some easy everyday looks, but then be able to go and amp it up if need be, this is going to be a great palette. The next one is kind of similar to the That's Taupe. It's the Going Coconuts palette. Here's the inside. I will say this is a little bit more of like a neutral, more than like a cool tone versus like a warm tone. It's definitely one of those that's like very neutral, very in the middle kind of a palette. But it is beautiful. And this shade right here, Cocoa Crush, it's just, it's so stunning. It's beautiful. So maybe you have somebody that has a ton of warm tones palettes, don't really care that much for cool tones, or they have a ton of cool tones, don't really care that much for warm tones. I think the Going Coconuts is great because it's definitely just like neutral. It's a very neutral, again, you have like this beautiful Crush shade, which is like right here. I mean, it's so beautiful. Like, it's so stunning. I think those two palettes are probably one of the best and favorite from the like ColourPop brand. Like, those are ones that I would buy over and over. They're definitely like my tried and trues. I'm more of a cool toned girl, so for me, I would be very happy with like the That's Taupe. But I'm also not a huge warm toned person, so I don't have a lot of those. But I do like the Going Coconuts where it's very neutral. So you don't, you know, you're not cool or warm. I think both of those are such great palettes. And the very last one from the 0 to 25 is going to be the Glam Light Donut. I love this palette. This is definitely going to be that warm toned palette. I think this is a great warm tone palette. I have hit pan in this. I really love it. It's called Chocolate Sprinkles. I love that shade. It's like an orange and it's got like some very beautiful purple, champagne, red, gold, kind of like sparkles and like glitters in it, some greens in there, and it's very, very beautiful. I also really enjoy the shade White Chocolate. It's this right here, so it's definitely like a gold kind of with a purple shift. I think that's so beautiful. And then, like, you know, you have like these others, and then if you have a friend that is like maybe, or a family member that is a little bit more deep skin tone, then, you know, this would be a great palette. And you have this center shade called Chocolate Glazed, which is a highlighter, or you can definitely use that for all over the lid. Tons and tons of options. But now let's move on to the next category, which is the $25 to $55 $25 to $50 range. So first, to kick it off, we have the Huda Beauty Wild Jaguar palette. Now, this is definitely going to be for one of those that really like to make those like grunge, dramatic, dark looks. Kind of like how I have my eyes today. This is not the palette, but it definitely is like a very dark grunge palette, very dark grunge look. And so I do like to do those kinds of looks. So I would be super happy with this palette, especially because this is probably one of the better 9-pan palettes that she has made. I really like the cohesiveness of this. I feel like all the shades make sense for what's in the palette. The looks that you're able to create are beautiful. You have this really beautiful like topper-ish kind of shade, which is just like a very beautiful, it's got like a shift to it. I feel like there's nothing about this, I can't really find anything bad to say about this palette. It's a really, really good palette. So I think this would be a really good option if you have somebody that really likes to create like some dark grunge looks, and you have somebody that maybe likes to travel a lot and would like a good palette for like some really nice, beautiful like nighttime looks. I think this would be perfect. Easy to travel with. The shade, you know, the shades aren't super fragile. This would be great to like carry around with and definitely be able to do something like beautiful and smoky or beautiful and grunge for like a night out on the town or something like that. I think this would be a great palette for that person in your life. So the next two are going to be from Give Me Glow. This is like my favorite brand, and it was really hard for me not to be like, just buy them all, okay? I was like, all right, let's make sure that you can get the palette, like it's not discontinued, like the grunge palette. Let's make sure you can get these, and let me figure out like which one I would recommend the most, or I would be most excited to have bought. So the first is going to be the Vintage Rose. This is my favorite from any of the Give Me Glow. This is definitely going to be for that person who really likes some like pinkish types of shades, and you can add in some green. So I think this is a fantastic palette. The quality is phenomenal. The mattes are so buttery, pigmented. I mean, look at that shimmer shade. Look at the shimmer shade right down here. I mean, they're just both absolutely beautiful. They are both so stunning. I feel like you can go a multitude of ways with these palettes. You can do something nice and light. You can add some green. I have made some really beautiful looks with this palette. It's probably going to be like my top pick for the Give Me Glow. But if you're somebody that doesn't really care for pinks a whole lot, and this definitely has a lot of pinks, then I think that person might be really happy with this Christmas Morning. I think this definitely has some neutrals. You can add some red if you would like, kind of add those two together to make it a little bit more fiery. You can add a little bit of a green. You have this beautiful duochrome right here. You have tons of beautiful shimmers. You can really do some quick, easy, one and done looks. Like you could put this and then add this. You could do this and add this. You could do this and add this. Like there's so many routes that you could go with this palette. It's definitely beautiful. Again, like the shimmers and the shades are like beautiful, as you can tell. Like, I mean, look at those shimmers. They're just so stunning. And that's just one thing about Give Me Glow, is like they're so good. They're so beautiful. I really feel like you could find anything. Those would be like my top picks. But of course, if you have, you know, somebody else in your life that enjoys other things, there are other palettes. But for sure, these are probably my two most standout. Next up is going to be from Menagerie. It's the Flight Club palette. I feel like this is such a beautiful, what on earth is going on out there? Is such a beautiful purple tone palette. If you have that person in your life that loves purples, but you find that they tell you that it's really hard to find a decent purple palette because purples are hard to formulate. I will go ahead, I will say that right out of the gate, purples are harder to formulate. So if you have somebody that is constantly trying to find a really good purple palette, then I think it would be an awesome idea to go ahead and surprise that person with this purple palette. The mattes are really nice and pigmented. I don't find a lot of patchiness with them. I feel like they're easy to work with. The shimmers are absolutely beautiful. You have this duochrome right here, so you can tell it's like a blue to purple shift. You have just so many incredible looks. Like this right here has a little bit of some duochromeness to it. So you have some like fun shades that, you know, shift, that are beautiful. You have just like some plain ones, and this really is a really good purple palette. I do appreciate that they do combine like a very like blend out shade, or you could set your lids to kind of help you out if you do experience any patchiness. You also have this, it's more of like a neutral, so you could definitely put that in the transition tone before going in with your purples to also help give you a little bit of something, so you're not, you know, patchy or needing a ton of help blending out with other purple shades. So this is overall just a great palette, especially if you like have somebody that likes colorful palettes, or you have somebody that is on the quest for a really good purple palette. Next two are from Alien Cosmetics, and these are very different palettes, so I just kind of want to talk about them. So first off, we have the Not Normal palette. Oh my gosh. I love this palette. I feel like there are a lot of different color combination options. You have some neutrals, you have some greens, and you have some like purples. I feel like if you have somebody that is wanting to play with some nice, good quality, different kind of tones, they don't necessarily want an all neutral, they don't really want a huge rainbow palette. They would kind of like to be able just to have a couple of different colors, different color options, different color ways to go. I think this is a great palette. It's exceptional quality. I will swatch some of the shimmers. I mean, look at those. The mattes are, I mean, again, pigmented, blendable, easy to work with. Like, you can do so many incredible looks. The look that I did on my channel here with the Testing Alien palette, or the Not Normal palette, oh my gosh, I loved that. I got so many compliments. I have recreated that look multiple times, so that way, you know, whatever, so that way I could, you know, get multiple compliments again. But if you're definitely are wanting to get somebody a really nice quality palette, they definitely might have a little bit of a dark emo or goth side. I think this would be like the cover art would be really fun, and it definitely gives them a couple of different options. You have different colored shimmers. You've got like greens, purples, taupes, a gold, and you've got like, you know, right here definitely some these are definitely some, why can't I think, these are definitely some neutrals right here. You've got, you know, some pinks, you've got some yellows, you've got some like purpley kind of shades. You have totally a ton of different options and a ton of different routes you can do for eye looks. So I think that would be perfect for that type of person looking for a palette like this in their lives. The next one from Alien Cosmetics is going to be the Hauntingly Glamorous. Okay, this is really, really beautiful. I will say the only issue that I'm like kind of like maybe I shouldn't include this is because these two shimmer shades are so easy to break. But I do like as you can see, you've got all your purples down here, you've got some greenish blues, and you have like some red up here. I think this would be great if you have somebody that really wants to experiment more with color, but don't necessarily want an exact rainbow palette. I sometimes find with some rainbow palettes is like there's not so much, like theirs is all purples. So I could do like an all purple look while also, you know, doing something more rainbow with like the greens and the reds. But I don't like where it's like purple, green, red, orange, yellow. And it's just like, I would kind of like some similar colors as well in case I just want to go that route. So I think that'll be great for somebody that would like to play with some like different colors, but also be able to make one cohesive look with just one color story. I think that'll be great for this person. And again, if they really like the emo, grunge, spooky kind of a vibe, packaging, super cute as well. And quality, 10 out of 10. Next up is going to be the Haunted Europe palette. This is such a beautiful palette. And again, I feel like there's a lot of color stories, a lot of color options that they can go with. You definitely have like your orange and yellows. You have like your greens and blues. You've got some grays. You've got some neutrals. The shimmers and the mattes are really soft and buttery, easy to work with. Really has like a bam in your face. I really like the packaging of this. This is such a fun, great palette. If you have somebody that's really into more like darker, grungier type of like rainbow palette, it's not really a rainbow. I guess it would be like have more color options, but kind of want them to be a little bit more grungy and spooky. This is going to be that perfect palette for them. Everything from the packaging to the imprints on the shades to the quality is absolutely incredible, and I don't think if you bought somebody that was really into this, I don't think they would be disappointed. Last one from this category is going to be the Glamlight X Michaela palette. Okay, so this definitely is that rainbow type of palette, but this is really, really good quality. These shimmers are like, they're like beautiful. I feel like let me look at that. The outer packaging is super fun and super beautiful. The mattes are pigmented, blendable. If you have somebody in your family or your life that is definitely a huge like Michaela fan, they like to watch her on TikTok, but they don't have the palette she did with Glam, definitely go and buy this for them. It's beautiful. If you have somebody where you don't have like tons of money to spend, but you definitely would like to give somebody more like a rainbow palette that definitely likes to play with color, but you also definitely for sure have some neutral options. So you have tons of options. You have tons of neutrals, and then you've got the rainbows. Definitely somebody that likes to, depending on where they are, do a different look. I think that would be great for that person in your life. All right, so now we are in the $50 to $75 option. So first thing that I'm going to talk about is the Abh Norvina 5 palette. This is probably my favorite of all of them. Of course, if you have somebody that likes the other color stories better, absolutely. But this is definitely my favorite. You definitely have a lot of neutrals. You've got a couple of glitters, and you have some pinky purples. So you definitely have a ton of different routes, and I think that this is also a really good quality purple palette. And the only thing is that this does not have, the other one does not have near the amount of shades, and you definitely have a lot more neutral shade options than the Menagerie one gives you. So if you're wanting to spend a little bit more money and you're okay with spending a little bit more money and you want to get somebody a really good purple palette, but also has like tons of other options as well, and definitely gives them a ton of different options to let their color, colorfulness out, I think this would be a great palette. I think it would be a good companion palette to the Menagerie one as well, because this one doesn't really have a lot of duochromes. The Menagerie does. Excuse me. So I think that would be a really cute option. You can either pair them together if you really have a purple lover in your life, or if you have a purple lover wanting to spend a little bit more money and give them more options, I think this would be a great option for them. Next up is this Be Perfect Carnival 4, the Antidote. This is going to be one of those that really likes fall, autumn kind of colors, but really has tons of options. Again, you have yellows, oranges, pinks over here. You've got neutrals, you've got greens and grunge colors over here. You could do rainbow looks with this. You could do just, sticking to the color stories. It's already divided out for them, so they don't really have to think about that. You do get quite a few shades. So you get 29, 39, 45 shades for $55. That I feel like is fair. The quality of this is really decent. I really don't have much of an issue with these at all. I have created quite a few looks with these that I love. So I really, really do love this palette. I think this is a great palette for somebody that would like a lot of shades that they could do a lot of different things with. So again, yellows, oranges, corals, pinks, neutral browns. We've got some cool tones. We've got like the grunge yellows, the grunge greens, silvers, things like that. I think this would be a really fun palette for them. They've got some duochromes, tons of different options. I think this is definitely a great palette for those that really like those grunge fall kinds of tones. So the next three kind of go together, but I don't think that you need to get all three. I think that the reason why I brought these out is because it's going to be very different for the person that you are buying for. And I think any one of these would be a good palette option. So that's going to be the Natasha Denona midi sides. And I have three of them to talk about. These are the $65 palettes. The first one's going to be the Natasha Denona Retro. So this is again going to be for one of those that really like some cranberry pink types of tones. And they would like a really incredible formula. I think the formula is really incredible. You do have some slight neutral options. It's not like tons of neutral options, but you do have some slight neutral options. You have some cranberries that'd be really good for really beautiful for the holidays. You have some really nice bright pinks that would be really nice and beautiful. So if you definitely have a pink lover or a more colorful and you've been wanting to get them on a Natasha Denona palette, I would say this would be a great one to go with. If you have somebody that really likes neutrals but more cool toned, I think the Glam palette is going to be perfect. I think this is also really good for a beginner. Now remember, there are no rules in makeup, so they can technically do whatever they want. But I like how it says, here's for the crease, here's for the transition, here's for the, you know, lash line, here's for the lid, inner lid, outer lid. You know, it kind of tells you. So if you have somebody that's maybe newer to makeup, but you want to surprise them with a Natasha Denona palette, and you know that they love cool tones, I think this is going to be a great palette. Even if they, you know, like Natasha Denona, don't have this like cool tones, but already know what they're doing with makeup, I think this is still a good option because, again, although the shade names are where she thinks you should apply them, makeup has no rules. You can apply these anywhere. So I think that would be really great for like that cool tone lover, cool tone neutral lover in your life. But then we also have the more warm toned neutral lover in your life. So this is the bronze palette. Again, it definitely, it doesn't tell you like how to use these. So if you are trying to gift for somebody who definitely needs someone to tell you exactly what they need, this probably wouldn't be it. But I mean, makeup's subjective, so they can play with it however they want. But this would be great for one of those that really, really likes neutral palettes, but really likes some warm bronze smoke kind of looks. I think this would be good for them. So now we're on to the $75 plus range. So I'm going to first go ahead and start off with the Pat McGrath This Holiday Season palette. I think that she did a fantastic job with this. You have where you go a pink route. You can have where you could go like a neutral brown kind of a route with the mattes. But then you have all of these like incredible shimmers. So if you have somebody in your life that you would like to get a Pat McGrath palette but don't want to pay the $125, this is $178. You get tons of options. There's some really cool like shifty shades in here. You've got some mattes. And then there's some where, let's say they just need to go to the office. They can definitely use the mattes. And there are some like neutral pinkish kinds of shimmers that would be perfect for the office. If they are wanting something more bright and beautiful, like a very, like, you know, neutral around the eye and then a very like pop of color on the lid, this is going to be another great option. If they definitely want to do something a little bit more crazy, you've got like this option right here, this right here, where they could definitely go a little bit more crazy. I feel like this could definitely meet the needs of all of those where you have somebody that needs something for every day, but likes to add a little bit of pop of color, but likes to be a little bit more crazy and adventurous. This is definitely going to be a great palette for them, especially if you're willing to pay the $78. I think that's like a great deal. Sometimes Pat McGrath is having a sale, so I don't know if she's having a sale right now, but you could definitely pick this up for cheaper. Definitely, you know, if you are wanting to think about getting this palette for somebody, check to see if it's on sale. If not, I think this is a great palette to still pick up for that $78 price point. But again, that's definitely going to be for that person that can do like neutrals, pops of colors, and completely and totally colorful. I think this would be a great option for them. All right, next up is going to be the Scott Barnes. This is the, oh man, what is this one called? I can't ever remember. Glamazon is what this is called. I think this would be really, really great for some like high quality shadows, for that really like colorful, but without being like too bright. This is definitely more of like a grunge toned down colorful palette, and the like quality is incredible. Like, look at these shimmers. They are so beautiful. I think Scott Barnes' formula is really incredible. I think he does a fantastic job. Here are 3 of his shades right there. I think that these are incredible. These are really, really beautiful. I think that if you have somebody that would like a little bit more of like a grunge, toned down kind of a palette, I think that would be great. If you definitely just have somebody that would like some more neutrals, but would also like a really great palette and you're willing to spend the money, I would go for this natural one as well. I think both of those are great. I think those are probably my 2 favorite palettes from him. So if you have someone that's more neutral, with like some like more neutral warm tones, natural would be best for them. Glamazon would be best for somebody that likes a little bit more grunge and color. Next up from Natasha Denona is going to be the Biba palette. I would put the gold in here, but you can no longer get that. But I really do like the Biba. I think the Biba has some really beautiful neutrals and some warms in here. Really beautiful shimmers. I think overall this is a great quality palette. I really like how like thick and nice the plastic is of this. It's like definitely like feels weighted. Definitely like a really good option. If you have a Natasha Denona fan and they really like neutrals but they don't have that palette, I would definitely say pick that one up. Very last palette to talk about is probably my all-time favorite palette. This is from Pat McGrath, and this is the Bronze Seduction palette. This is her number 5. So I really like how you do have some neutral options, but you can also add in some purple if you want. But like the star of the show for me are basically like these 3 shades right here. I will swatch them. They're so beautiful. So you have like that like whitish shade right here, but it kind of shifts. It shifts from like a white to like a green. Then you have like this like pinkish bronze shade right here. And then last is like this, like it's a mint kind of a green kind of a shade. So you have this one, which is more of like a golden green, and this is more of a mint green. They're considered some of her like special formula shades, and they are my favorite of all the special formulas. I will say in terms of like mattes, most of her palettes are basically going like a neutral or pink kind of a route, so I don't really find those to be anything super special. But it's these shades right here that are supposed to be like the most special, and I feel like this palette is the best for having like definitely like those more special kind of a shades, especially if you have somebody in your life that really likes that little extra like little pop or sparkle of some like green in there. Which is something that I really do, but this overall I feel like is the best color story and has the most special shades of all of hers. So if you have somebody that has been wanting to try Pat McGrath and you're willing to bite the bullet and pay the $125, I think I would go with that one. Of all the ones that she has released, and I own all of them but what, 2 or 3 now, I would still pick this. Like, even just looking at the other ones online are not anywhere near as beautiful as this one. I have been waiting so long to get the Bronze Seduction palette, and now that I have it in my collection, it's still the best. And that is it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope this helped you out in maybe coming up with like gifting ideas for that makeup lover in your life. If it did, then definitely give this video a thumbs up. I try to do this yearly. If you give this a thumbs up, that lets me know that you would like for me to do this again next year. As well as leave a comment down below. What's a palette you are picking up for somebody? Or better yet, let me know what palettes you wish someone would get you for Christmas. Even if it's like the most expensive thing and you know it may not ever happen, what is something you wish somebody would buy you? Let me know that down below. I definitely want to hear that. But that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed, don't forget thumbs up, comment down below, hit that subscribe button, click the little bell, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!